Good evening. This is week 4 of Social Work 541. Dr. Norma Thomas providing you with an overview of week 4. So for our introductions, let's turn to our objectives for the week, which are to describe important elements of multiple community practice theories, describe the various roles of social workers in community practice, demonstrate the ability to select appropriate practice models. So we'll go to our learning resources first. And first, let's look at the week 4 overview. And actually, I have already pulled that up. So this week is on community practice theory. Week 4 provides materials on the theories and models associated with community practice, as well as with the role social workers may play in community work. So please go through this PowerPoint. I'll highlight a few pieces of information. First, there are a variety of goals, purposes that might apply to community work. Therefore, knowledge of the theories associated with each goal, as well as the kinds of roles necessary to achieve each goal, is invaluable. Goals can include individual change, organizational change, community change, political, governmental, or cultural change. And so please look at the goals and roles of community organization even further. Community organizers can fill the roles of teachers, catalysts, facilitators, and play a linking role. And then there is a discussion about theories and models, which you will have to refer to in your discussion post for this week. So, what is theory? What are models? Is contained in the slides in the PowerPoint, but also looking at different particular theories. I'm not sure why this is not going up like I want it to. But we have system theory such as system theory, which I'm sure you're very familiar with, which looks at community maintenance, ecological theory, and again, this is how these theories apply to communities, survival of the fittest organization, conflict theory, referring to competition between the haves and the have-nots, social learning theory, which the description says that human behavior is learned during interactions with other persons and with the social environment, power dependency social exchange theory, power acquired through social exchange, empowerment. The description is to enhance personal group capacity. And remember, we help people empower themselves. We cannot necessarily empower someone, but we can enhance their personal group capacity. Resource mobilization or social movements, and this is when we get into mass organizations to acquire power. Social capital, how do we support individual development programs to achieve larger change? And then constructivist reality construction, use of informal knowledge. So look at those descriptors because, again, you will need them for one of your discussion posts. The PowerPoint gives examples of different variables and community practice theories and model. And the impact of community organization on society, ultimately, it improves informal networks, improves linkages between individuals and institutions, leads to changes in laws and institutions, and reduces the impression of marginalized groups, and so very much more. The readings for this week include a reading from Boehm and Kannan. Ram Kannan was one of my professors at the University of Pennsylvania when I was going for my doctorate. You'll see the University of Kansas Toolbox, Chapter 1, Section 3, Chapter 1, Section 7, and then Chapter 5 in the toolbox. And then there are a number of supplemental readings. The discussion post for this week requires the following. After completing the readings, after completing the PowerPoints, you are to decide what do you see as the 3 or 4 most important characteristics of an effective community practice model. Again, referring back to the readings and back to the PowerPoint. Write a post in your own words that captures these important characteristics, and then explain why you think they are so very important, and include at least 2 references from this week's readings. This is one where you won't be able to see the post of others until you do your post. You're to respond to at least one of your classmates. Those responses are between initial post on Thursday, and the responses, as always, between Friday and Sunday. And you can see that one person has already posted. The next activity for the week is an actual assignment. So one member of your dyad will submit your assignment following the instructions for the community needs analysis, and we'll look at that in a second. But I also want to make sure that you look at this video about forming a paper in APA. Papers, whether they're for an online class or face-to-face class, must follow APA guidelines. So please make sure you understand what those guidelines are in terms of formatting your paper. Make sure that if you're doing direct quotes, that you indicate the page number for your reference section. Anything that you include as a reference in the body of the paper has to be noted in the reference section, and vice versa. If you note something in the reference section, it should be noted in the body of the paper. If in doubt, there are also a number of online sources for formatting papers. Purdue OWL, their online resource, online writing lab, provides information, and there are a number of sites, including the APA site itself, and you can always look at the APA manual. But that is very critical that you make sure that grammatically, logically, and that following APA format, all of those things are done. So the community needs analysis is due Sunday. So there are a number of components for this assignment, and they are as follows. Define the parameters of your community in terms of name, size, borders, and population characteristics. Note, begin your research into your community by finding out facts about its residents or participants. Consult the internet using mapping and census resources. Contact organizations and people in the community or outside the community that may have access to existing reports about community conditions or issues. Human service organizations and churches are also good sources of information. Describe the community's formal political structure, businesses related to the community, and human services, political resources, and economic resources. This is why for your dyads or triads, whatever community problem you're going to work on and population group, I would suggest strongly using one of the communities where a member of the group lives and where some research has already been done versus starting out with a whole new community to assess and provide information about. So look at your population group and problem area in terms of one of the communities that one of the members of your group currently lives in. In terms of needs data, because this again is your community needs analysis, include both statistical and narrative quality of life information from a variety of sources. These sources should indicate at least 2 key informant interviews. So before you identified key informants, now someone needs to talk to these key informants. Include information about the community's assets, paying closest attention to assets that might be useful in your intervention plan. And then the problem analysis. Identify the target population or issue you will address. Provide your assessment of the problem size and scope, causes of the problem, and issues you need to pay attention to as you develop your intervention advocacy plan. You will also want to include how social policies affect this community, what issues of social, economic, and cultural justice affect this community, and existing social services and how they meet the needs of the community. Here is the rubric, so please look at that rubric. You have informational technical support if you're having any difficulty loading that assignment. The other piece that you will note in this week is the midterm evaluation. So I encourage you to fill out the midterm evaluation. It may help in determining things we can change at this point in the course, understanding that in terms of readings and assignments and those aspects of the course, that cannot be changed. But maybe there's something that you would like to see differently, and you can give that feedback at this time because evaluations are always taken quite seriously. So with that, I await your submissions. If you have any questions about the assignment, especially looking at this community needs analysis, if you want some help in further refining your problem area or some ideas on where to turn to get additional information as you do your community assessment, please let me know as quickly as possible. I look forward to your submissions and hope you have a wonderful week. Thank you.